welcome everybody. This is your host, Learbach, and you're just in time for more LEGO Bionicle MOC Showcase. In the previous episodes, we've been looking at villainous Matoran, known as the Brotherhood of Makuta. In my story, for those of you whose first video might be this, the Brotherhood of Makuta are not actually Makuta, like in the Prime storyline. There's only one Makuta, and that is your boy Pterodax. God, I sound so white when I say that. So Pterodax, aka the Makuta, the original big bad, is the only Makuta. But there are villainous Matoran who worship Makuta and try to become more Makuta-like by mutating their body, their masks, and whatever inherent powers they may have. These creatures have been together to become the Brotherhood of Makuta, and their names, well, after the character their masks are being made from, because I have a hard. Creating names is hard, okay? But outside of the mask and the name, that's about all these characters have in common. With the exception of Krika, who's a little bit more connected to his original version. And I guess in a way, Gorast here. So, fun fact about me, I never bought the original Gorast figure. I don't know why. Actually, I kind of know why. The only Makuta I bought from the Mystica set was Krika, and the only Makuta I bought from Fantoka was, I think, Mutran. Mutran or Chirok? I think it was Mutran. At that point in the line, I was not liking the way the figures were looking, and especially with Gorast having just kind of fixed hinges, I didn't really like them either. Then I found out, years and years later, Gorast actually has 4 arms. That's kind of cool. 4 limbs. I don't know why I didn't realize it the first time. Also found out Gorast is actually female. Is actually a woman, so that's kind of cool too. I like my female representation. So yeah, let me go ahead and get her into a good pose. This version of Gorast is quite a bit different from the original because instead of having the claws, which I did not feel like buying, for the same reason I did not feel like rebuying a lot of parts for, and her legs falling off. I believe I mentioned this before, and let me get my tablet up, because that is embarrassing when that happens. There you go. I believe I've mentioned this before, but part of the problem with these ball joints is they don't like to stay on very well, particularly when you're using them for legs. So yeah. So anyway, going back to the story upon this particular character's creation, instead of using claws instead of using Gorast's claws, I decided to give her some swords. Give her a kind of samurai, dual wielding, or in this case, I guess, quad wielding design with her character. So, yeah, I happen to have 2 of the lime green and 2 of the dark green crystal swords, I guess you call them elemental crystal swords from the G2 Wave 2 line. And yeah, so I gave her a quad wielding. She's a duelist. Or double duelist, quadruple duelist. Quadruplist. I don't know what the term for this would be. And her arm popped out there. Oops. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So she uses 4 swords for combat. The story for this character in the lore of my story is she's one of the founding members of the Brotherhood of Makuta, alongside Chiron, and was one of the first to volunteer for getting her body mutated by Chirox's concoction, turning her into this kind of Rahi-esque bestial form, and also mutating her mask in the process. So yeah. For her, it turned out to be a good thing, because now she's got 4 arms, and her mask can never be taken off without killing her. So she can never be disabled in combat. It also, yeah. She can also fly now, too, which is always cool. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about the construction of this figure. So for the arms, it's pretty much the same as the original figure, using the same kind of piece. In fact, I actually had to look up the instructions for the original figure to figure out how they did it. I just added an extra piece here to kind of extend the arm out to her waist, so that she could actually have equal length arms. I'm using the almost said it, slicer / throwbot body. Almost called it Robo Rider body, and that's not the slicer / Robo. I did it again. Slicer / Throwbot body. Third time's charm. Which I've used in other Matoran designs. This gives her a kind of a smaller, stockier look, which in this case kind of I think works out well for her. She can be a bit of a smaller, stockier character, more of a scrappier fighter. As for the construction of the wings, we use a 3-length lift arm and a little wing construction set up here. A pin with a receiver piece, and then a axle pin connector piece. I'm not sure what these pieces are called, but you can easily find them. And then hook it up to the actual wings that are Gorast's original wings. So yeah, line it up there, and then slip the arm straight through like you normally would. Move it to 4 lengths. Yeah, 4 lengths. Axle with a stop. Passing through a ball joint with a hole through it. That allows for a stable connection. So yeah, last episode I was talking about Krika having. Actually, I don't think I mentioned that. So yeah, let me bring up Krika real quick. Originally, Krika was supposed to have 4 of these blades on him, 2 of them on his arm, but I took those off because it those kind of becoming a little too much. I put them on Gorast. Originally, to kind of simulate wings, but then they weren't really doing it for me, but I didn't want to get rid of them, so I kind of kept them on. I gave her the actual wings, which was challenge to kind of work on how to get those to work, on how to get these to work on this body type. But I think I got it to work. Got a little bit of a gear back here to symbolize the mechanical portion of Gorast. Let's see what else here. Painted armor. Tried to do a kind of gold green look originally. I didn't hate it. This was the armor was originally for someone else, but it didn't turn out. It didn't turn out the right color, and also you can see it's kind of like chipping away greatly. But I kind of like that it's kind of has this chipped away look. Yeah. Remember, kids, if you don't want this look on your figures, paint in layers. Paint once, let it dry, paint again, let it dry, paint a third time. You're done usually after the third coat, but sometimes you may need more. But like I said, I kind of like the chipped look. It gives her this kind of, she's been in fights, and so that's kind of like the damage she's taken. I kind of like how the color looked on her in particular. It's not exactly. I don't know. It works for me. It works for me. I can't explain how. I guess maybe a lighter green would help, but at the same time, it looks fine to me. But yeah. So that is Gorast. What else can I say? I think I've got everything down. Yeah. So yeah. That's Gorast. All that said, I'll see you guys later.